Hi, this is Mary from Sophisticakes by Mary. Welcome back. I wanted to show you how I made this gorgeous origami cake this week. To start off with, you'll need an acetate sheet. You could use wax paper or parchment paper, but I find the acetate is sturdier and holds up to this design a lot better. I'm going to use white chocolate ganache to create the design of the origami, so that can get kind of heavy, so I wanted to use this. And to begin with, I fold the sheet in half, and then I fold that half in half and keep on doing that through that entire sheet. I think the best way to get the measurements for how long and tall that this sheet needs to be is figure out the circumference of your cake and double that, and that will give you how wide or how long it needs to be. And for the height, measure the cake and add about another ½ inch to an inch to allow room for the frosting that's going to go on the top. You can make these pleats as small as you want or as small as you can get them. I just find to keep the edges crisper, the more times you fold it, the duller those edges get, if that makes sense. And here I'm showing how I get that diagonal. I go from corner to corner on each fold. And I'm going to use a scraper, metal scraper, because that gives me a really sharp fold, and I line it up from one corner to the next, and just fold the acetate on top of that. Now your next pleat is going to go from that second corner that you used to the third corner in the opposite direction. So you're kind of creating a triangle here. And then just continue doing this process all the way through your acetate sheet. Now you can do one long sheet to wrap around the entire cake, but I just find that if I break it down into smaller pieces, it's a little easier to manage when you're lifting it up and transferring it onto the cake. It's whatever you find works best for you. So I'm only showing you the one that I folded, but I did this to, I believe, 4 altogether. I'm just folding it up on itself, accordion style, just to make sure that everything is looking the way it's supposed to. And this is what it should look like once it's all folded. There are different folds you can do. You don't have to do these diagonal folds. You can just do the accordion. The first folds that I did, you can just do that, and that looks really neat too. Now I have my white chocolate ganache, and I'm just using an offset spatula to get it into all the little nooks and crannies. It's messy. It's very messy because it is soft, but it's well worth the work. And just make sure you're getting it into those corners. Otherwise, you'll have some air bubbles that get trapped, and you'll have to go back and fill those in. And I ended up having to do that at the end because it's nearly impossible to avoid that, but just do the best you can. And I'm just scraping off the excess as much as possible. Don't do this and expect to have clean hands by any means. And my white chocolate ganache is just white chocolate with heavy cream. And I believe I did a 3-to-1 ratio so that it was a little firmer. 3 parts melted white chocolate to 1 part heavy cream. Then I let them sit for a couple of minutes just to firm up a little bit before I lifted them up and put them on the cake. Just making sure that those corners are as crisp as they can be. And I just butt one piece up against the one that you placed before this. And there is a right and a wrong side to this specific type of pleat. You want to make sure that the image that you want is facing out. I let it set in the freezer for a good 15 minutes to firm up, maybe even a little longer than, we'll say 30 minutes, so that I could pull these off more neatly. And take your time doing this. Pieces will want to crack and come off, but that's okay. You can go back and fill that in. And I used an X-Acto knife just to clean up the parts that spilled out or kind of flowed out from the bottom. It's just... detailed design. And then once you've got that on, you can use your X-Acto knife to cut the excess off the top also. Clean that up real good. I think the trick to this is just keeping your hand in the same position as much as possible. Don't move it around too much. And I'm cleaning up that bit that I cut off. And this is the final cleaning up of all the edges. Apparently there was a lot of cleaning up of the edges. You will make a mess doing this. And then I went ahead and I pre-frosted 2 foam cake dummies. Since I don't need this much cake in my house, with the same white chocolate ganache, and I use a little dab of ganache in between the tiers to get them to stick to each other. And then I'm gonna fill in that gap in between the tiers with some more softened white chocolate ganache and smooth it in as much as you can. I refer to this as caulking, because that's what you're doing. Do this for the top tier as well. And this is where you can go in and really clean up that ledge in between the bottom tier and the middle tier, once you've got everything in place. And I used just some silk artificial flowers and leaves to decorate it. It's a little bit of a tropical theme. Maybe I'm really wanting some warm weather. Kind of tired of this winter. I think we all are. And I like the contrast of the white with the green. You could make these out of gum paste or fondant with some Tylose powder to stiffen it up if you wanted, but this just was a little faster for me, to be honest. And I think it looks just as good. And this is not actually a tropical flower. I think it's an orchid, but I think it looks kind of tropical-ish. And there you have it. I love this shape, geometric shape. I think it's gorgeous. So give it a try and feel free to send me any questions or comments or anything that you have. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.